Nice old. I only got over about an hour ago, but I just said I'd warm into it, and so I picked 3 songs, and I'm just going to. It's an improvisation, and I'm just learning to hear the music and also trust slowness, because we all love the celebratory movements and when it feels grand, and I'm just learning to kind of hold my weight actually, and my inner strength for the slow movements when you're beating through what looks like stillness, but it's still full of potential. Just when I was here just about 2 days, but it's different now after. Actually, I'll clear this chair as well.
You haven't any more?
We look for a few more. I don't probably.
I haven't seen any more.
Yes, we have spare.
Is that spare? Yeah.
Someone left.
No, it was Sam. Went to Belfast. He left a guitar. Telling all his business Thank you all for coming. This is so great. We were just chatting briefly there about sound, and I suppose working with this type of music is new, and my special interest is honouring the what we call the slow tempo. So I think it's maybe if you have a dance, we think of where we can be jovial, and it's when we see it, we say there's energy coming, and but we're not aware, or we're not aware of how we're generating it. So a lot of what I'm focusing on is concentrating on, even when the music is high tempo, that you can still hold your strength, and even if it's just this, it can just fill the room. And that's why theatre is of interest. It's physicality. It's kind of this is full, and even if it's there's different ways of filling the space. So I don't want to over speak it, because it is simply movement. And if there's we can do maybe a little turn down just in case, but it's good for the volume, So
I need to do that exactly the way you.
okay, okay, that's amazing. Yes, we'll be after. Okay, good show. Okay. Well, thank you all. to trust that you don't need to have 10 minutes planned. You have been moving for days now, and if you trust that there is a repertoire in there, and deeper than that, do you really think there'd be nothing ever to say? Still, well, that's about ways to fill our life, our day, our movement, and to trust, it's okay to say nothing, but that nothing then can become the plenitude. And for me, that's like healing for many things is about nothing's ever wrong, and if we're not sure, and it's like some of the things we don't want to see in performance, or actually what I feel there is actually no, like performance wants everything, we like to hear each other speak, but sometimes we're coaching a part of us to say, bring it all, it is okay, and I think it finds a way, it finds a way, and that's why, again, free form, it's a great way to build a sense of connection to whatever we do, it'll be fine, But then again, then you go back to the studio and we learn more things, and so it's right brain left. It's two things at once, I guess.
I would say it's almost a push and pull.
Yes. Well, that was it. Yes.
Like two, the two of you in the front.
Yeah. That is so true, and that was, I suppose, adding a dimension to, in traditional performance, it's me and you, and I'm going to tell you something, and it's all, and then, like, some styles talk about, like, the whole 360 awareness, where it's like I'm performing all over, you can, like, shoot your energy everywhere, and sometimes you can be doing this, then it can be all this, and then sometimes it's like, actually, there's also this dimension, and I think that's why I'm so interested in structure, because we're not saying, this is the best, or it's kind of like, well, actually, it's a toolkit, and the body will sense, I really have to say this now, or in the context of this, then we're going up here, and we're reaching down, and even like there's like, it's infinite what we could do, but then we confine ourselves to 9 minutes, and we say, okay, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to draw from there, and I guess it's the joy of it then, it's like, I just want to say a sport, but what I mean is, we're training and we're practicing, and this is the day, and this is the moment, and we're going to just do it, and the body likes that, it's quite exciting,
Wow.
Yeah.
What a workout.
Yeah. That's why I was saying, efficiency then and gentleness, if it was going to be longer, then you could, you find ways to, Well, that's so true, and actually, at the end of that piece, sometimes when you drop the weight down and you're pulling more from the hip, it's less than, there's so many places to pull from, and that's why we don't have to be ever fully tired, it can always just be, okay, now I'm asking my ankles to do some of the exactly, and it's just funny the stored energy that can be there when we allow the reserve to go a little bit lower, so pulling from what we do have.
What I found about the performance was, as it went on, it wasn't a dancer and music, it was all combined. So one became the other. I could find myself, that kind of synesthesia thing where, so being a visual person, seeing the music through your body, and sort of hearing the music through you.
I feel like you're in what I see, and like when you talk about the colour and the music and the light, it's like, wow, that's it. I'm just visualising now like vibration and how we can enter in at different points. But that's beautiful. I feel like your response is part of the art. It's art.
I feel like I can't listen to music without saying you now.
But I know.
See it on a different level. You're on a different level.
And I guess like we as humans, and we kind of hold space to bring through a space. Some people might say dimensionality, and I think what we love about it is the dimension. Oh my God, that that place is cool, and then we can go off and bring it in again, and that's why, and I say that because it's never about the person holding the space in it, but that's who we might connect it to them, but what I encourage is, what I say is, that's all there to be drawn down in any form we like, and that's why I do believe in we're all connected and we're all drawing from an infinite source. We all do it differently because we have choice, but when we're so, enamored or or when something makes an impression on us, I say, well, that's a part of you, and because it vibrates so well in your heart, it means your heart loves that, and no doubt you have already got it through, and it's kind of like remembering, oh, I know that vibe, I know that.
Dance is primeval, isn't it? So all of a sudden you're kind of lost it a bit.
Yes.
I just think, oh, I have to dance more. Yes.
But I think like the best movements, like even seeing movement on film, it does make you go, God, you do just want to stand up in your bedroom or something and just wow, because it fills us up. And because we are one with it, it is a part of it. When you say primeval, that's that word, it's fascinating. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I forget that, how deep this can go, and it is something I am trying to, well, I don't need to, but it's a part of us as well, I was using some of my own composition, but that was opening up different things, and in the end, one day I said, just pick a track, and I use academic sound, and it's all licensed, so any music you use, first of all, I was using Indian classical, and that was lovely. I had a great day with that, or 2 days, and about a week previous, I had seen a movie, an Indian movie, which I was going to see a film, and I said, oh, that's the only one on at that time, and it was about 4 hours long, but I loved it, and it was like an Indian soundtrack, and I was like, whoa, that's very cool. And then I just so happened to listen to it while I was here, and then somehow I came across classical, and I was like, that is brilliant, and so like heart opening, and I didn't hear it as conservative. I felt it as joy. I felt it as large and grand and sometimes quirky, and I was feeling the brighter side of it that I always thought it was like, we sometimes think it's serious, but there is more. When we're ready to take it in, we're kind of like, that is brilliant. So I spent I think a couple of days with that, and then my feeling was, okay, try to do some contemporary classical a bit more, just to get used to going in between, and it was maybe just to shake things up and to again practice moving in and out of different rounds and audio and auditory experience to enliven, because without realizing I found then some solo piano, and it was very calm, and I started stretching, and I didn't realize it, but I had totally gone to that space, and I was just like, la, la, and it really did bring me down, and suddenly I was like, oh, what was it, where am I, no, I was like, where will I go now, and then I put on something else, and I was able to travel with that. So the music really can bring us places. I'm just yes, I'm just remembering for some reason like motions like this, and that, and we can't call it, it's not, I guess today was more rhythmic, and I suppose that's something that has grasped my attention, but I suppose at the start of the week, I was working a bit more with just, movement and eyes and body and just being, and somehow the rhythmic parts just came in, and I was like, okay, no, but but I feel like the work with, meditative movement, mindfulness, stillness, it's really nice, and actually I can hold that. Actually, if we want to do a minute of mindfulness, and maybe if you want to stand up, you'd be very welcome. So we can call our attention back into the room. Focusing on the heart. Feet, hands, elbows, shoulders, forehead, nape of the neck, back of our skull. Remembering our connection in the here and the now to all that is. Sometimes we can comb through our physical layers, the aura, our energy body, and just allow things to fall. Thank you. Thank you so much. That seems relevant, so you never know. Absolutely. And thank you for coming because it just helps to get another perspective. Yes. Sectors that say, I want to actually organize creating the morning is it, you really should send people the portfolio and that would be like better for all.